Hello guys, this is the-epiphany. In today's video I'm going to be teaching you how to accurately determine the price of your items which you want to sell in the market. Before I do that, I just want to make an announcement involving my Colosseum with Subscribers series part 2. That series is still continuing. I haven't ended it yet, and I've replied to many people on the community post that I made where I asked you to sign up. If I reply to you, you need to contact me on Discord, because if you don't contact me on Discord, then we can't do any fights together. So just make sure you do that. I've also reached 100 Colosseum fights on my channel in total, and it's been a very long time since I did fight 1, which was in 2014 actually, so it's been a while. And yeah, I recommend checking out the 100 fight if you haven't already, because it's a really long fight and it was close and definitely interesting. It was very hard to predict the winner. Alright, so getting into the video now. The reason why I'm making this video is because I've seen a lot of people come and ask me to help them price their items, and don't be ashamed if you don't know how to price your items, because the economy on Dofus is actually it's very different to real life basically. For example, in real life obviously there's buying and selling, but in the game there's a concept that is called percent off buying. So for example, this guy buying 25% items, so yeah, this guy as well here buy items level 200 30% to 25% off. So basically what we call these people are percent off buyers, and they basically buy your items for a percentage discount off the market price, and then they resell the item in the market to get profit. Now, my number one advice to you is never ever sell your items to a percent off buyer, and I'll explain why in a moment. Basically, these people play the game for a living, so they need to buy items for cheap and sell the items to get karmas, and then they sell the karmas for real money, because if they don't do that, then they won't be able to, put dinner on the table, and they'll starve. So basically what we want to do is take a look at the market, and it's a good it's very useful if you know how maging works. It's really like not necessarily the steps on how to mage, but the difficulty of being able to achieve certain mages. So the first item we have here is a Crabton amulet or necklace. So you want to go to the market and search the item. You want to start from the cheapest item, and then you work your way down the list until it gets more and more expensive. You want to look for another item that is as close as possible to the stats of the item you have. And there are some things to keep in mind here. So this particular item is 4% resistance exomage, which is pretty nice. And but you need to keep in mind what type of item this is. So for example, this is a strength item, and if you have a good understanding of how strength sets work, you'll know that strength sets actually lack earth resistance. So if this was 4% earth resistance exomaged, it would sell for a lot more than a 4% water resistance, simply because of supply and demand. So we want to start and keep going down until we see any 3% or 4% resistance exomage. We have a 3% earth here. Pretty mediocre stats. The wisdom is actually below the minimum limit, so that's not good. Alright, so we have 3% here, max damages, max lock, but missing a lot of vitality. But then again, so is our one. Our one's missing a lot of vitality as well. That's okay though, because in this item, once the vitality is above 455, you actually cannot modify it. So let's keep going and see. Okay, decent 3% earth. Okay, so we have 3% water here, which is actually pretty decent stats. Max damage, max lock, wisdom is high, Vitality is almost near max as well. So if you were to compare the two items in terms of quality of stats, you'd actually choose the one on the left, because it's not worth to sacrifice so much vitality, one of each damage and one lock, just to get one more percent water resistance. And like I said, percent water resistance is pretty unpopular when using a strength item. So to price this amulet, you would have to actually go cheaper than this 3% water resistance Crabton necklace. And the reason for that is you want yours to be bought before the one that's in the market. So since we're dealing with items here that are in the millions, a suitable price to put this one for is simply 100,000 karmas cheaper, which is 4.2 million. So I'm just going to tell the guy that that's what I think the item is worth. Okay, the next item is a Major Rabbit. Major Rabbit is actually pretty simple to price because it's a trophy, so all you got to do is put it for 1 karma less so that your trophy appears. So you put it for 1,194,998 karmas. Okay, the next item we have is a Brucey ring, which is 1 AP exo. So in my opinion, exo mages that are 1 AP, 1 MP and 1 range are actually easiest to price. And the reason for that is because there's not many of them. Usually there's not many of them in the market. So we're going to find the cheapest 1 AP or 1 MP exo. The reason why I say that is because the price of maging a 1 MP exo is actually quite similar to a 1 AP exo, because both the chance of landing a 1 MP or 1 AP is 1%. So it honestly depends on the item, but I'll get to that later on. Okay, so we have Brucey ring here, decent stats. It's actually better than the 1 AP exo that I have here. It's pretty much missing 18 vitality, and when you're maging an item that has this much vitality, there is no excuse to not use a 15 vitality rune. So whoever made this item could have easily gotten the vitality to 297 before he put on the 1 AP exo. So that's a bit of a turn off, which means the price is probably a little bit reduced. So if we continue here, we have a 1 AP exo, which is 11 million, and it's pretty bad stats, missing dodge and MP parry. So we're going to ignore that. Alright, we have a 1 AP exo here, which is actually pretty decent. These are actually probably the most decent, like the minimum stats you'd go for if you were exo maging this item. So if you were to compare between the two Brucey rings now, the one on the left is actually a lot better than the one on the right. Therefore, if you're selling the one on the right, you'd have to put it for a little bit cheaper. So since there is a 1 MP exo one here, this 1 AP exo is, you know, a little bit worse than that, but you want to compare it to the other AP exos. So you'd put this Brucey ring for 10.5 million, I'd say. Alright, moving on to the next item, which is a Tash ring. Okay, so just by looking at this Tash ring, I can tell that the strength being 44 is a bit of a turn off. The reason I say that is because maging an item that has 50 strength, there is no excuse to not use a +3 strength rune, and whoever maged this could have easily gotten the strength to 50 if he did +3 and +3 before adding the 1 MP exo, but I guess they were just lazy. So now the item is going to be worth a little less. So the logic with Tash rings is that all of the resistances are important, even the fixed resistance, the 10 earth, 10 water. And if those resistances are missing, then the price of the item drops dramatically. Okay, so we have a 1 AP exo here, which has all the resistances, but the wisdom is a bit low, and it's also got 3 out of 5 damage. there is no excuse to not have 4 damage on this item. 5 damage is a little bit difficult though, because damage is the only source of sync here. But, 3 damage, no excuse. Alright, let's keep going. Okay, missing resist. Missing resist. Alright, we have a decent one here, 1 MP Exo, which is fairly similar to the one that I have on the right. Now, logically speaking, the one on the left is better than the one on the right because it has 3 more vitality and 2 more strength. And therefore, we would have to put the Tash Ring on the right a little bit cheaper than this, I'd say at approximately 9.5 million. There are some situations where an MP Exo can be worth more than an AP Exo or vice versa, and it all comes down to supply and demand. So an example I'll show you involves this deep sea bracelet. So as you can see here, the cheapest Exo is 17.9 million, which is 1 AP Exo, and then we also have one that is 1 AP Exo for 18 million. Both of these are pretty low wisdom. They're also missing quite a bit of lock and MP parry. So if they are for that price, let's jump over to the one that's 19 million, which is an AP Exo, and this one has high wisdom, decent lock, MP parry. It actually has 5 vitality, overmage as well. It's missing 1 water damage, however, but it's still pretty decent, better than the previous 2 anyway. So as you can see, these 3 are all AP Exos. So that means there's no MP Exos in the market. So what I did was I measured an MP Exo DPC bracelet and I put it for 20 million. So in this situation, the MP Exo that I put is reasonable for being more expensive than the AP Exo, simply because it is the only MP Exo in the market. I could technically put this for 22 or 23 million, and there is a chance that it'll sell, but the chance will be that I'll just have to wait a little longer. But, this is one example. Another example I want to mention involves the same logic. So if we take a look here at 1 MP Exo on Horrifying, pretty decent stats. Not really actually, 71 out of 80 intelligence, 71 out of 80 agility, low wisdom, low heals. And then you have one here that's roughly 2 million more. Missing crit res, low heals, low wisdom. And then you have my one, which is a bit better, and I've put mine for 19 million. Now, the fact that I put this for 19 million, it's because, it's better stats than the previous 2, but what I'm trying to say is all 3 of the Exos in the market now are MP Exo. So if I had an AP Exo Horrifying and I placed it in the market for 22 million, for example, the AP Exo Horrifying has a higher chance of selling than my MP Exo Horrifying because of supply and demand. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're trying to price Exos, because if there's a certain type of Exo that doesn't exist in the market, do not feel guilty, or don't be afraid to put your Exo for a little higher than the others. Alright, let's move on to Cat's Eye Bow. Alright, this one is 2% Earth Resistance Exomage, so the choice of element, which is % Earth, is a good thing because it is a strength item. However, you can see that the strength on this item is 72 out of 80, so that's a bit of a turn off. The pushback damage is pretty low as well, and the MP parry is pretty low, so that might affect the price. Let's take a look at the cheapest 2% Earth Cat's Eye Bow. Alright, so we have a 2% Earth Cat's Eye Bow here. It only has 5 out of 10 MP parry, so that's a problem. And it's also got 14 damages only, so that's also a problem compared to our one. So overall, our Cat's Eye Bow is better. So let's keep going. We have a 3% Earth one here, but low wisdom, low vitality, low MP parry, low strength as well. So honestly, I'd say this 3% Earth one is worse than our one. Alright. Okay, here we have one that is fairly decent. 14 damages, however, 15 pushback damage off 3 MP parry. Okay, so that's pretty bad. Now, I want to keep going and see if we get one that is somewhat near our one. Okay, here's one. Fairly decent. Pretty similar stats, although it is only 14 neutral and earth damage, and our one is 15 neutral and earth damage. So these two items are quite similar. However, overall, I'd probably say that I wouldn't go any more expensive than this, considering the item does cost only, I think, like 2 million karmas to craft. Oh, it's even cheaper than that now. 2 million karmas to craft, so you don't want to go, you know, any more expensive than this for a 2% earth resistance exomage. Not to mention the strength is also bad, which is the major turn-off. So I'm going to say Cat's Eye Bow, 4.5 million. Alright, the next item is Bellina Boots. Alright, these Bellina Boots are 3% earth resistance. You can see that the fact that it's an earth resistance exomage indicates that it was probably intended to be used in a strength set. So the fact that the strength is 54 out of 60 is a turn off. Wisdom is a bit low, crit resist is missing 1. You know, there's no excuse to not have crit resistance at max, because crit resistance is only 2 sync, so the fact that it's missing is a bit of a turn off. So let's take a look at the closest 3% one. Okay, so this one is 3% fire, but you know, in a strength set it already has a lot of fire resistance, so you don't really need percent fire resistance exomaged. But let's keep going. There doesn't seem to be any 3% earth resistance Bellina boots in the market. There is a 4% water one though. But the point is, the fact that there isn't a 3% earth resistance Bellina boots means that I get to set the price at whatever I like. But, you know, I don't want to be too unreasonable because it'll take too long to sell. So, since earth resistance is more important on this item compared to water resistance, I'm going to be putting these Bellina boots at 5.5 million, because that is cheaper than the 4% resistance one. If the Bellina boots was 4% earth, like 4% earth is quite valuable on a strength item, so a 4% earth boots would actually cost around 8 million at least. But as you can see, a 4% water isn't that popular, so this person has put it at 6 million. So the Bellina boots I have here, I will be putting at 5.5 million. Alright, the next item is Cloak of Thousand Excuses. From experience, I know that this item is actually very, very difficult to mage, and the reason for that is because every single stat of the item is important. This particular item, however, is missing crit resist and 2 neutral and 2 earth damage, so that's a bit of a turn off. We need to have a look here and see any similar items. Okay, there's a 3% earth here, but it's completely destroyed in terms of stats, you know. Really, really bad vitality, missing crit resist, and 3 earth damage, 2 neutral damage as well. So, yeah, that's pretty bad. Let's keep taking a look down here. Alright, we have ourselves a similar one here, which is 3% earth resistance. This one, however, is 93 strength, whereas ours is 99 strength, but this one has maximum crit resist, whereas ours is missing 4 crit resist. So I don't know about you guys, but crit resist is one of the stats which I feel should be maximum on all mages, simply because it's only 2 sync, so it's not really difficult to put it to maximum. So the fact that this one is missing 4 crit resist is a really bad thing. So although it has 99 strength and 350 vitality, I think it would be worth roughly similar to the one in the market, which is 4.8 million. So for the sake of trying to sell quickly, I'm just going to say 4.7 million. Alright, the next item is Cthulhu Mask. Let's take a look at that. This is a good one. I can already see that it has max damage, max crit resist, max strength. Very nice to see. Alright, let's take a look at the cheapest 3% earth one. There's a lot of 2% earths because it's pretty easy to get 2% earth on this item, but 3% earth is the problem. Alright, 3% earth, but missing strength, missing wisdom, missing crit resist. So let's keep going. 3% water, but it's missing damage. Alright, 3% earth, decent, but it's missing damage. Let's keep going. Okay, here we have max damages, but it's missing some wisdom and crit resist. So let's keep going. 3% fire, but low wisdom. 3% earth, but missing damage. 4% earth, but missing damage. That's weird. There's not a single one that has 3% earth and is max. Oh, we have one here. Alright, so this is the most similar. This is the most similar to our item, which is both 3% earth, max crit resist. But, you know, as you can see, it's fairly obvious that the one on the right is actually better than the one on the left. You know, obviously max strength, a bit more wisdom. So it is better than the one on the left. So I would say we should put this item for 8.6 million. And the reason for that is someone who's looking to buy one of these will look in the market and they see one that is, they see both of these which are 3% earth. But our one, you know, it's much better, more wisdom, more strength. So they're most likely to want to spend an extra 100 KK just to buy our one since it's better. Cthulhu Mask, 8.6 million. Alright, little white bow meow. Okay, that's a pet. We'll go to that later. Let's do Captain of Magna Shield. It's actually pretty nice stats. It's pretty much perfect except for 2 crit resist. 2 crit damage. So we're gonna find one that's similar stats. We need to keep in mind that a 100 Vitality Transcendence rune costs approximately 500,000 karmas. So if we see one that is the same stats as our one but doesn't have the Transcendence rune, then we could simply add 500,000 karmas to it and it'll be the price. Alright, so there are none that are 100 Vitality Exomage that are similar stats to ours. But there is one here that is the same stats as ours without the Vitality Transcendence rune. Now from experience, you know, whoever put this shield for 10 million, it's probably not going to sell because the item only costs 2 million to craft. So, you know, maging it up to these stats is a little tricky, but it's not going to cost, you know, 8 million karmas in runes. So 10 million is overpriced. That being said, this Captain of Magna Shield, which is 100 Vitality Exomage, I think a suitable price for it would be 8 million because it's a price that we'll be able to sell reasonably quickly. As you can see, all of the other shields in the market are pretty crap stats. So let's say shield can be 8 million. Oh, whoops. I forgot to wait, Captain of Magna. That was for Captain of Magna. I forgot that there was actually one more shield here, which is Stalag Shield. Starlax shields are pretty difficult to mage if you guys haven't tried them already. You know, all the stats are important, so we've got to check for the one that is a similar stats. Okay, there's a couple here that are 100 vitality. Alright, this is 100 vitality Transcendence rune, but the dodge is 10 out of 20, so that's definitely a no-go. This one here is pretty decent, but as you can see here, the difference between the two shields is that our one actually has one more power and one more dodge, so that does make a difference. So let's keep going up. So what's this? 3% fire. Weird. So 2% water. Another one that's maged by the same person, Fonisa. Alright, so this one has one less dodge, and it's going for 4.8.5 million. Now, since our one is actually one more dodge better, it's technically worth more, but since we're trying to sell these items quickly, we will put the Starlax shield for cheaper than this at 4.8. Alright, now what's left is we need to go on to do the two pets, which are the little white Bao Meow and Bulbasaur. Alright, little white Bao Meow. Okay, let's see. Little white. Okay, so the pet is level 84, which means it took 100 enriched croquettes, which is the pet food, to get it to level 84. So if you're unaware, 100 enriched croquettes is the type of food that you can get from the Colosseum tokens or nuggets. So the cost of 100 of these is 3.3 million, and let's assume that the pet that is level 0 costs, okay, it looks like 10kk. So if you were to add 10kk plus 3.3 million, you get 3.3 million and 10kk. So let's see if there's any ones that are similar. Alright, so we have a level 84 pet here as well, which is 5 million. So that's a little bit overpriced because, like I said, it only costs 3.3 million karma's worth of pet food to get it up to level 84. So there is a possibility of making profit here if the seller for this item puts it at 4.5 million, which means he'll be making a 1.2 million karma profit, and it's also cheaper than the current one, which is 5 million. So, yeah, little white Bao Meow, 4.5 million, so that's good profit. Alright, next we have a Bulbasaur. Alright. Bulbasaur level 100. Okay, so to get a pet to level 100, it actually costs 393 enriched croquettes. So I just have a calculator up on my desk here. I'm just going to quickly calculate the price of that. Okay, it's actually 13 million karmas to get a pet from level 1 to 100. Now, that being said, there's probably going to be level 100 Bulbasaurs in the market already. So let's just take a look. Alright, level 100 Snailmate Mimisimbic. Level 100 Toucantankerous. Level 100 Rushushu. And 8 million karma for a basic Bulbasaur, level 100. Okay, so to sell our one, we will simply put it for 1 karma less, because since they're both the same stats, if we put ours for 1 karma less, it will appear in the market instead of that one. Alright, so we have 7,999,998k. And that's it. I think that's it. Okay. So that concludes the first part of the video, and for a bonus segment of this video, I would like to actually estimate the price of my entire set using the basic principles that I've told you in this video. So stay tuned, and I'm going to estimate the value of my entire set. For the next part of the video, I'm going to be showing you guys and estimating the price of my entire Feca set. This is the Feca set that I have on Echo, and it's quite similar to the one that I have on Eliseo, which I have done a set review. So if you want to check out that video, then I'll link it in the description box below for the Eliseo Feca set review. I'll be focusing on the items only, not the eggs and trophies, because those you can pretty much just put them for 1 karma less, whereas for the eggs you have to sell them in a merchant, so the logic doesn't apply when doing it in the market. Okay, so basically if we take a look at the items, I have a crocker belt here. My crocker belt is 3% fire resistance exomaged, and as you can see, it's actually very nice. So the first thing we'll do is we look for one in the market that is 3% fire as well. There's a lot of 2% fires, but I don't see any 3% fires, probably because it's pretty difficult. Yep, okay, so there is no 3% fire resistance crocker belts. There's one here that is very expensive for some weird reason. Yeah, there's no 3% fire crocker belts. So technically I could put this at any price I wanted, and I'm pretty sure it would sell, because this item is pretty much on high demand for intelligence set users. So let's say I put it like 25 million or something, and I'm pretty sure it would sell. Alright, the next item we have is a War's Helm. So the War's Helm that I have is 2% fire resistance Transcendence rune, max intelligence. However, the lock is missing 1 and the MP reduction has been pretty low. That's all for a strategical reason, of course, because I wanted to get the other stats maximum, such as fire damage and critical damage. So let's have a look. Alright, we have a 2% fire here, but you know, really bad stats. 2% fire, 2% fire, pretty bad, you know. 2% fire, pretty bad as well. Alright, so there's no good stats 2% fire war helms. And keeping in mind that the cost of a 2% resistance transcendence rune is about 3.5 million. So to craft this item would be approximately, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 million karmas to craft, and then plus 3.5 million from the transcendence rune means that it's worth at least 7.5 million. But the fact that there is none in the market that is anywhere near as good as the one I have, I could technically put this for 15 million and I'm pretty sure it would sell, because it's a very nice mage and it is on high demand. A lot of intelligence set users use this one. Alright, the next item is a 4-leaf. I maged this 4-leaf in a previous video. It was actually the one that I dropped 1 AP XO4. Now, let's take a look at one that is absolutely perfect stats. I think I saw one somewhere. Okay, just hold on. Alright, here. 10 million karmas, perfect stats. My one has 100 vitality transcendence rune, which costs 500,000, so I would put my one for 10.5 million. Okay, next item is a new one, and it's called a Etimalo wand. This is the new intelligence weapon that has replaced the corrupted bow, because corrupted bow got nerfed and it's 6 AP. Alright, so I decided to range exo this wand because range exo was required since, you know, the item doesn't give a range, and the fact that corrupted bow did. So if I use this without a range exo, it'd actually be 1 range short compared to before. But as you can see, there are no wands in the market that are 1 range exo, so I think a suitable price to put this one would be approximately 35 million karmas, and it would sell due to demand and, you know, it's how good this item is. Yep, so 35 million for that. Alright, the next item is a War's Gauntlet. War's Gauntlet, 1 AP Exo. Alright, so let's just go to the bottom immediately, and we need to look for a 1 AP War's Gauntlet that has 9 fire damage and 14 crit damage. A lot of people tend to leave the fire damage or crit damage low because they can't be stuffed. You know, it is a high difficulty item to mage. I wouldn't say that this is fun to mage at all. Alright, so here's the closest one we have, but it is actually 14 out of 30 wisdom, so nowhere near as good. Let's keep going. And now we're going, okay. This one's pretty close actually. The rest of the stats are actually the same except for vitality, which it has 11 less than mine. So let's see if we get one that's closer. This one, 19 out of 30 wisdom, so it's not good. Let's keep going. This one is good wisdom, but it's got 54 intelligence. 54 out of 60 intelligence is pretty bad. Alright, let's keep going. This isn't too bad. 21 wisdom, but other stats, you know, pretty nice. Let's just go ahead for a moment. This one's better than mine, and this one's at 33 million. So I guess I put my one in the market for 32 million if I was to sell it. What's this one? 50 million. The hell? Max crit damage, max fire damage, but 53 out of 60 intelligence. 50 million, okay, interesting. Yeah, but I think my one would be in between these two, so 32 million would be an appropriate price. Alright, the next item is a Merdiodon Cloak. Okay. Merdiodon Cloak I have is pretty much max stats. It's only missing 5 vitality and 2 wisdom. It is pretty difficult to achieve these stats, I'll be honest, because the heals being 10 sync, you know, if you're going to get the heals to maximum, it costs you quite a lot of sync, so it's hard. Alright, let's look for any others that are remarkably similar. Alright, this one's 3% fire, but it's only 10 heals out of 15. Alright, let's keep looking. Let's keep looking. Pretty bad. Alright, so there are actually none in the market that are up to the quality, same quality as my Merdiodon Cloak. So, you know, the fact that this is a popular item that is used in intelligence sets, 3% fire is a popular mage, which should be maged onto this item since intelligence lacks fire resistance, so that is the appropriate exo mage to make on this item. I could probably put this for 15 million and I think it would sell. Alright, the next item is Ringoose. You know, this item has been out for like 3 or 4 years and I still don't know how to pronounce it properly. I say Ringoose, but apparently people say it's Ringaus or Ringaes or Ringaeus, you know. Alright, 1 MP, 1% fire resistance, maximum heals, no sorry, maximum AP parry, 10 heals, high wisdom, max fire damage, really nice stats. The price of these Ringooses has actually dropped quite a bit. You know, there's a lot of exo mages that go for around 14, 15 million now, but as you can see, they're all pretty shit stats. So let's just keep going until we get to one that's anywhere near as good as ours. Alright. Well, that's a shame. There's not a single one that's 1 MP, 1% fire. There's this one that is 43 vitality overmaged and 1 MP, but it's missing a lot of heals and the AP parry is low. You know, honestly, we look at the ones that are most expensive and you see they're not even that great. So I could put this one for maybe 35 million or 40 million and I'm pretty sure it would sell because of how good it is. Alright, next we have War's Treads. Okay, 3% fire resistance, max fire damage, max lock, max crit damage, max MP reduction. Very, very nice stats. Alright, let's see. Okay, we have a 3% fire resistance one here, but missing lock, low crit damage, low fire damage, low wisdom, missing 13 vitality. Nowhere near as good as mine. Let's continue. 3% fire, looks a bit better than the previous one, but missing 2 lock, wisdom's a bit low, missing MP parry, so ours is better. Let's continue. Not bad. 15 out of 20 lock, 7 out of 10 MP reduction. So ours is better. Let's keep going. 1 range exo, 1 AP exo, 1 AP exo. Okay, AP exos on the boots is pretty useless in my opinion. Yeah, but as you can see, there are none that are anywhere near as good as mine. So this one would probably go for, I'd say 25 million or 30 million karmas, and I'm pretty certain it would sell. Okay, the last item on the list is the Rhinital Amulet. Rhinital Amulet is perfect stats, literally everything perfect stats except for prospecting, which is not important in PvP. 3% fire resistance overmage. Alright, let's see. See any that are similar to this. 3% earths. This one's 17 out of 20 fire damage. Pretty bad. Missing MP parry. So many earth resistance. Oh, okay, here. We have a 3% fire resistance one that has max crits, max MP parry, max fire damage, and max crit damage. However, the only bad thing about this one is that the intelligence is only 92, but obviously that's not the fault of the mage, because you can't modify intelligence if it's 92 or above. Okay, this one. Decent, but low intelligence. But obviously, once again, that's not his fault. We have 3% earth resistance here. Low wisdom, but everything else seems to be decent. But there doesn't seem to be any decent 3% fire resistance one except for this one. And the fact that, you know, mine is literally perfect. I'd say mine would cost 25 million or 30 million. And I'm pretty sure that will sell. So, that's pretty much my gear, or my Feca set. If you think any of my prices are unreasonable, feel free to drop them below in the comment section and I'll be open to discussion. But this is a pretty high quality set. You know, I'm a type of person who cares about quality, so I need to ensure that my set is very, very high standard. Also, we have this Morley Cat, but I'm not going to go into the price of that. It's just level 100. So, yeah. You know, this set alone probably costs 250 million. Because of how good some of the items are. You know, Volbus, Shiny Protect, and stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next video.